Before dinosaurs ruled Earth, this planet was once dominated by a black ocean, where oxygen itself was deadly poison. As oxygen began to appear, billions of primitive life forms could not survive, and they died in silence. The atmosphere of that world was not built for humans, not for animals, and not even for oxygen itself. But deep beneath the ocean, tiny organisms were preparing to change the history of the entire planet. What keeps us alive today was once the deadliest biological catastrophe Earth had ever seen. Across millions of years, the black oceans began to transform, and with them, the destiny of all life. The climate turned extreme, and the sky unleashed chemical storms that lasted for millennia. But even in extinction, there are always survivors. After the death of billions, Earth entered an entirely new chapter. And from that oxygen catastrophe began the long path toward dinosaurs, animals, and eventually humanity. Oxygen reacted with the immense iron dissolved in the oceans, turning the planet into a sea of chemical blood. The air of that ancient world would have killed a human within seconds. This may have been the first mass extinction event in the history of Earth. Some ancient life forms never needed oxygen, and they hid within the deepest parts of the ocean. For ages, sunlight almost vanished from the surface of the planet. But a few tiny organisms learned how to turn poison into energy. Earth's atmosphere entered a chemical war that would last hundreds of millions of years. This young planet was never stable. It was a chaotic machine, rebuilding itself. From catastrophe, life began experimenting with an entirely new form. This was the moment. Earth began becoming the world we recognize today. After billions of years of chaos, the oceans finally became the cradle of complex life. And then, nature created something entirely new: the predator. Life was no longer just surviving. It had begun fighting to dominate. Earth's first forests were not made of trees, but of ancient bacterial cities. Evolution accelerated. Armor, vision, speed, all began to emerge. More oxygen meant larger bodies, faster hunters, and deadlier worlds. Then one day, life decided to leave the ocean. The barren land slowly transformed into a living planet. And from those small survivors, a new empire was beginning to rise. The age of giants had finally begun. Earth now belonged to giants, larger than anything humanity would ever witness. Not only the land, even the skies had found their rulers. Beneath the oceans, monsters stretching dozens of meters hunted within the darkness. Evolution had created the perfect hunting machines. In this world, every moment was a battle for survival. Even the night was filled with creatures unlike anything in the modern world. Some species grew so immense, the ground itself trembled beneath them. But while giants ruled the planet, Disaster had already begun its journey toward Earth. An asteroid spanning kilometers was descending with enough power to end an entire era. And then, the Age of Giants came to its end. In that instant, Earth changed forever. The force of the impact surpassed billions of nuclear bombs. The oceans rose like mountains, swallowing everything in their path. The sky itself began setting the planet on fire. Then, everything fell silent. Sunlight disappeared from Earth for years. The rulers of the planet vanished into history. But life has never truly surrendered. From the ashes, Earth began another cycle. From the black oceans where oxygen was once poison, life survived extinction and created the world we know today. Billions of years have passed, yet the scars of the black ocean still remain buried beneath the Earth. Every layer of stone is a memory, preserved by the planet across unimaginable time. Dinosaurs never completely disappeared. Their descendants still fly above us today. The oceans, once stained black by death, became the source of life for an entire planet. And at last, from billions of years of catastrophe and survival, humanity emerged. But the history of this planet reminds us of one truth. Life has always been fragile. Earth has never stood still, and it may continue changing long after humanity is gone. And deep beneath the oceans, ancient secrets may still be waiting to be discovered. But there was one ancient creature, more terrifying than any dinosaur that ever lived. This is not only the history of Earth, but the story of how life survived the apocalypse.